Hello, greetings, people of the internet. It is your boy with another boy today.
Oink.
Yeah, I'm here with Aydin, and we are taking a look at the Beast of the Mesozoic Medusaceratops. I'm just gonna start off quickly and not let you talk. And,
Didn't feel like it anyways.
yeah, there you go. And we're reviewing Aydin's version of the figure that he brought over, and just quickly acknowledge that when I saw this thing, I hated it, and I think we were both in the same boat. We both hated it.
When it, I don't remember it standing out a ton to me when we were looking at the concept art, but the, as soon as the Kickstarter started, and they had, I think it was particularly the picture of, like, all the ones that were already painted on the shelves. He had two shelves, and they were all painted on there. We saw the Wendy and the Medusa, and everybody, it was, Caesar wasn't really there, but it was Gibson, Eric, you and I, and Clayton. We all hated them.
Yep.
We thought they looked really bad. But then we started seeing the individual promo pictures of them.
Yeah, and we saw the individual promo pictures, and you warmed up to it.
Clayton was the first one to warm up to the Wendy. He didn't warm up to the Medusa, and then I was the first and only one to warm up to this one.
Yeah.
And I was immediately like, oh my goodness, I think that's one of my favorite ones.
And I still didn't like the Medusa, and I stood by the fact that I was like, this is still one of my least favorite ones from the line. There's just too much going on with the colors here, and it's really saturated.
And before we move on, I have to say, before we actually even, the Kickstarter even started, when he was doing in progress stuff, just before it came out, I think, he showed the head sculpt for this Medusa.
Yes.
And I was in love. I was head over heels. I was like, this is one of the coolest head sculpts from the entire line. I can't wait to see it.
I agreed with you there at the
then
time.
The colors showed up and we all hated it. And then the promo was different. And I was like, oh dang, I think I really like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It was when you got this in hand, and I joined you in a private call on Discord because you wanted to unbox your huge Wave 1 haul with me.
Oh yeah, I got 5 of them.
You got 5 of them. And you pulled this one out, and you were kind of like just oogly over it. I can't think of a word. I'm still waking up right now. Ogling over it. There we go. Thank you. And Gushing, yeah. And I was still not convinced, but then you started putting some pictures in, and you were showing the articulation and everything, and I was starting to warm up to it, and I was like, okay, I'm still not going to get this one, but it's okay. It's like maybe mid-tier for me. Then you did me dirty by bringing it to my house when you came to visit me. And it's my favorite from the whole range, from all of them that I've seen in hand now. Like, even past, I thought it would take a lot to beat the Pachyrhinosaurus for me, for just how impressive that thing is in hand.
That one was temporarily my favorite when I got it. I think for all of us said it was our favorite. Yeah. But then it was like, I want to say like the better half of a week later, I was like, okay, now I've like the excitement died down. I really love the Pachy, but eventually that like excitement of just the impact of how big it was like subsided. And I was like, yeah, no, this one's still my favorite.
Yeah.
And it's remained that way since.
And I've seen, because by now when I'm going to post this video, I have other videos that I'm planning to come before this, so you'll know that we all went on a trip together to Washington and everything. And I've seen a lot of new figures on the trip, but this one is the only one that has just been forefront in my mind the whole time. Like, I'm like, I need this. I'm like, I've had it in hand for like 2 weeks now, but I need my own version. So as soon as I got home, I got off the plane, and I basically just got home and ordered my own one. It's coming in 2 days from when we're recording this.
Everything is so satisfying about it. I've talked like about it for eons with Gibson. Well, you guys were in the call because he had the Styrac and I had the Medusa, so we both had this medium-sized body, and we were always saying how much we loved the articulation. And even when we saw the Styrac Gibsons in person, his is way stiffer than this one. This one actually is better.
It is better.
Not to say that the Medusa is better than the Styrac, but his particular one is stiffer because they're the same body. But
this one has more range of motion around the head.
Yeah, there's a slightly with the Medusa in particular, the head has just a tad more mobility, but his is just a little stiffer. This one's it's got just everything going for it. And I just, the sculpt is just incredible. It's so fun to mess around with because it's got such a wide range of articulation. Its head just looks sexy. It just looks so sexy. I love this thing so much. But I love it. And then the colors are so psychedelic.
Yeah. And I was actually going to bring up the colors next.
With the the snake-like striping. It's just so cool.
Because I feel like whenever I do a BOTM review, there's not much to talk about with the sculpt, because I'm just like, that's the animal. It doesn't matter. There's nothing to talk about with it. But the colors are really the interesting. I like hearing different people's opinions on the colors and see which ones speak to which people. And this one was just, I haven't had a figure in ages that has impacted me so much, just seeing it in hand like this. And yeah, psychedelic, like you said. The mixture of, I had no idea till I got it in hand that there's like some dark reds, like dry brush over the purples and everything.
The blacks and reds that are kind of mixing in and makes a bunch of different layers to it, and it kind of makes the purple look kind of ethereal in some parts.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
And then the striped horns. I'm a fan of whenever sculptors or companies like bring a little more attention to the keratinous structures on ceratopsian horns and add a little bit of color or pattern to them. And here it's no exception. Just the striped horns look really good. And oh, there goes my phone. But it gives off an effect, like, you know, on the old cartoons we were talking about, when there's ever like a hypnosis or something, you have like the red and not the red, the black and white. My brain is not working today. The black and white. We just
woke up recently.
We did. We have jet lag. But the black and white, like pulsing like circles when someone's being hypnotized or whatever, or even in the old Jungle Book cartoon, Ka the snake, his eyes would do that.
Yeah, I forgot he did that. Yeah. So it's a girl, isn't it? Ka's a girl.
Well,
this is unimportant.
It's not important. It's not important. Okay. I just know Scarlett Johansson played the new one in the new Jungle Book. But anyway, regardless. So when you look at it straight on, I just love how hypnotic just the pattern with those two big, it looks like two suns on the frill there.
Yes.
Like just heat just beaming down on you. And then the stripes on the frill, on the frill horns, and then on the brow horns. Just, it looks like it's hypnotizing.
We've complimented
really
the
cool.
head sculpts and how accurate these figures are for, like, especially, like, they all have their own little mini inaccuracies occasionally because of the fact that they share parts, and some things are just a little bit, they're not perfect, but this line is so consistently accurate and so the head sculpts are so consistently amazing. But this, even with that, and they're all accurate for the most part, but this one, even amongst all those, and this is, I mean, obviously, this is a compliment to the head sculpt of this figure, but also just the head of the animal. There's not a single angle I ever look at this thing's head and I don't love it.
I agree.
I think it just looks so... And I want to, like, really hone in onto one part of it, because I keep pointing this out to you. But the horns on this thing are my favorite horns in the entire line. They have such a unique and subtle shape to them. They look baskety. They have like almost not pseudoceratops like structure. They're coming out to the side. They go up. They curve back down. They have the little like flick to the end of them. Like you'd sometimes see that on like Triceratops art, that they'll do like the little flick, like little hook to the end of the thing. Yep. They look slithery. They look like they're alive, and they just look so cool. They're just... It's
like the snakes on Medusa's head.
Yeah, you can maybe you'll even bring up your picture right now, the picture you and I kind of worked on together.
That's going to be the thumbnail picture, don't you worry.
It shows a ton of the shape, the subtle curvature to the horns. It's just, every angle you look at the horns, they look different, and they look so beautiful. I love the horns on this thing so much. And this is a perfect example. The Atlasaurus from Eofauna is another great example of this, but this one even more so is an example of like how much a single interpretation of an animal can affect how much you love it, because this is legitimately one of my favorite ceratopsians.
I've never cared about Medusaceratops, and just seeing this figure in hand, I'm like, this is shot it up like.
And it's a cool concept, and I've seen Collecta make it, I've seen it in art a bunch, but no piece of Medusaceratops ever has made me fall in love with the animal as much as this one has. Now it's legitimately just one of my favorite animals.
Yeah.
Prehistoric animals, it's just awesome.
It's great, and before I forget here, I also want to acknowledge, since this is mainly about since it's mainly about the colors and everything, one thing I did not know this figure had were these two blue spots, or I didn't notice it because everything is very loud. I
probably forgot. It's just like they're not super obvious.
But I love when David Silva just puts like a little splash of color in just random areas. It's unnecessary, but it just adds. Oh, there goes my green. That's fine. But it adds so much, like on the Cosmoceratops we saw with Gibson, he has the little yellow wash around the nasal area and the white line. Eyes. The Chasmosaurus has the sky blue spots on the neck, and
He's so
you don't notice those
routinely,
things.
like, because especially these figures need to be made cost efficient, and he gets so much range out of the colors of these simple colors, because we understand why he has to have a limited color palette, because these are expensive, and the more paint you use, it's just more expensive. But he uses the blue that's only on the eyes, and he uses the blue that's only on the cheeks for this one, which is very unnecessary for him to throw that additional color in there, but it's great. But then he uses the red, the black, and the purple, and he gets this immense range out of it. It makes it look like there's so many other hues involved in the whole sculpt, and it's...
Because when you think about it, at least from what I've heard, granted I've never worked with a factory or anything before, but what it seems like is it's based off of how many different color paint or like paint shades there are on here. But you can tell that he's taken shades and like turned them into washes or dry brushes to really just maximize the effectiveness and the range of that particular color.
One of my favorite examples is this this part right here on the front.
I was going to just talk about that, the
thigh. It makes it look pink. Yeah. But it's just a purple wash, and he does, and I think there's a little bit of red under there. I love the way the scales look on that too. Maybe there isn't, but it's definitely a purple wash, and he stains it, and it gets like a pinkish color out of there that you don't really get anywhere else on the body. And this right here, this even looks purpley. It looks like an extension of the purple, but I think that's red. I think that he washed red and like smeared it over.
Oh, in between the stripes. Yeah, that's red.
I think it's red.
That is red.
But it looks purpley when you just look at it. It just looks like
the same color as right here. I'm pretty sure it's just
like
a lot
orangish red.
Yeah, it's a lot more sparsely used.
Yeah.
But it makes it look like a different shade almost.
It's just so beautiful. And then like there's just this little line on the nasal part right there. It just flicks up. It's just there's so much character to it. I love it. I love it.
It's great. And I think the only other thing I really wanted to mention is it has the best jaw out of all the ones that I've felt.
Yeah, I love it. It doesn't close all the way, but you can actually like squish its thing in there just a little bit. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't
get
matter.
Tongue out of there.
He has the tongue in there too that you can move around if you shove something in his mouth. But
yeah,
overall, I have never more quickly just decided, okay, that's my favorite thing from one of these ranges.
And you immediately, you and Gibson both immediately when they got home from the end of our
we both bought it the same night.
Night.
Yep. We like. I just need to have this thing available at all times.
Eric was not as enthusiastic about it, but it's okay to be wrong.
It's okay to be wrong. If you're watching this, Eric, we love you, but you're wrong. Okay. Well, I think that covers everything that I really wanted to say on this one. I don't know if you had any final...
David Silva, I love you, and thank you so much for this beautiful masterpiece.
Yes.
I love Medusaceratops so much more now.
Yeah, same here. Same here. It's an amazing figure, and it really just shows his love for making these things and just maximizing what you get for your money. It's a great piece, but thank you so much for watching.
Can't wait for Wave 3.
Yes, Wave 3 and Tyrannosaurs and stuff. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
And
thank you for having me.
We're going to have him in one more video coming up, so stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye!